Have you ever felt that even when life seems full, something is still missing? You achieve goals, you collect experiences, you gather knowledge, yet the sense of wholeness slips away, like water through your fingers. What if the reason is simple, not that you lack something, but that you have been searching in the wrong direction? Fulfillment does not come from adding more. It comes from uncovering what has always been here. Imagination and creativity are not distant talents. They are the silent forces of consciousness itself, waiting to remind you of who you truly are. Today, we will explore how these hidden powers can lead you back to a deeper presence, a freedom, a sense of being complete. Wholeness is not something you achieve, it is something you remember. At the core of your being, beneath all thoughts, beneath all emotions, beneath all stories, there is pure consciousness. It is the ground of awareness, the silent space in which everything appears and disappears. This consciousness is already whole, already free, already complete. Yet in the rush of life, in the endless pursuit of goals, in the habits of the mind, we forget. We look outside for what can only be found inside. Imagination and creativity, when seen clearly, are not just tools for making art or solving problems. They are the natural movements of consciousness, reminding itself of its fullness. Imagination projects new possibilities. Creativity brings them into form, and together they expand awareness beyond its old boundaries. They take you out of the narrowness of habit and back into the openness of your true self. Think of the way imagination shows you what is possible. Without it, life feels locked into the patterns of yesterday. But with imagination, new horizons appear. You can envision healing where there was pain. You can picture forgiveness where there was anger. You can imagine peace where there was conflict. These are not just fantasies, they are glimpses of wholeness. They remind you that life is larger than the momentary struggle, that your being is wider than the cage of thought. Then creativity steps in. Creativity is what takes the vision of wholeness and makes it real. It is what lets you speak the words of forgiveness, what lets you take the breath that calms your body, what lets you choose compassion instead of blame. In these acts, wholeness is no longer just an idea. It becomes lived. You feel it in your heart, in your body, in your relationships. Every creative act, no matter how small, is a return to wholeness. Writing a kind message, cooking with love, solving a challenge in a new way, listening deeply to someone in need. Each of these is an expression of consciousness remembering itself. Each expands the field of awareness, reminding you that you are not limited to the narrow identity you once believed. This is why imagination and creativity are essential for self-realization. They are not distractions, they are the very powers through which consciousness awakens to its own depth. Without them, life would remain confined to repetition. With them, life becomes a journey of discovery, a continual unfolding of new ways of being. Consider how this has already been true in your life. Think of a time when you imagined a different path and then acted on it. Maybe you left a job that no longer served you. Maybe you forgave someone who hurt you. Maybe you started a practice of meditation or movement. In each case, imagination opened the door, creativity walked through it, and consciousness expanded. You became more whole, not by adding something new, but by uncovering what was always within you. Wholeness also means seeing yourself beyond labels. The mind loves to divide, to call you successful or unsuccessful, good or bad, worthy or unworthy. But pure consciousness knows none of these divisions. It is simply whole. Imagination can help you see this truth by showing you pictures of yourself beyond the labels. Creativity can help you live it by acting from that wholeness instead of from the narrow labels of the past. This practice is not complicated. Sit quietly, breathe, and let imagination bring an image of your wholeness. It may be a light, a landscape, a symbol, or simply a feeling. Notice how it arises without effort. Then let creativity join. Speak the image silently as an affirmation, or take a small action that reflects it. In this way, you are not just thinking about wholeness, you are living it. Each moment becomes a reminder, each action becomes a step, each breath becomes a return. The beauty of this process is that it is never finished. Wholeness is not a final state you reach, it is an endless unfolding. There is always more to discover, always more to create, always more to express. Consciousness is infinite, and imagination and creativity are its endless expressions. The more you welcome them, the more you realize that you are not broken, you are not lacking, you are already whole, already free, already complete. So the next time you feel that something is missing, pause. Notice the thought, notice the feeling, and then look deeper. Beneath it all, consciousness is already here, spacious and whole. Let imagination show you a picture of that wholeness. Let creativity help you act from it. And in that simple practice, you will discover that what you were searching for was never missing. It was always here, waiting quietly within you. When we look at imagination and creativity only as personal skills, we miss their deeper role. They are not just talents, they are the engines through which consciousness itself expands. They are the silent powers that take awareness beyond its old boundaries into new ways of knowing, new ways of being. This expansion is not just about ideas, it is about transformation, the unfolding of wholeness through lived experience. Imagination begins this process by widening your scope. It shows you visions beyond the present, futures that could be, perspectives you have never considered. Without imagination, you would remain locked in what is immediately given, in what the sense is present right now. But imagination allows you to rehearse potential futures, to revisit the past in new light, to contemplate realities beyond the senses. It opens the horizon, it whispers that life is larger than you thought. Creativity then takes these visions and grounds them. It turns them into actions, into forms, into expressions. When you create, you are not only changing the outer world, you are expanding the inner world as well. You are giving awareness new ways of knowing itself. A poem, a song, a kind gesture, a scientific discovery, all of these are consciousness modifying itself, finding new expression. Every creative act, however small, is a step into greater wholeness. This is why imagination and creativity are not only useful, they are essential. They are the mechanisms by which consciousness evolves, both within you and within humanity. The buildings we live in, the languages we speak, the tools we use, the cultures we belong to, all are products of imagination joined with creativity. Without them, human life would remain flat, tied only to the immediate present. With them, life becomes rich, layered, meaningful. But the power of imagination and creativity is not only in outer achievements. Their deepest role is in self-realization. Every time you imagine yourself beyond old patterns and then act from that vision, you awaken to your true nature. Every time you imagine a new possibility and then embody it, you remember that you are not limited. You are awareness, capable of infinite expression. This is not abstract philosophy. It is something you live each time you break free from habit, each time you create something new. Think about a challenge you once faced. At first, it may have felt impossible, heavy, closed. But then, imagination showed you another angle. You saw a way forward, however faint. Creativity then guided you to act, to try something different, to take one step. Slowly, the challenge shifted. What once felt impossible became manageable, even meaningful. This is consciousness expanding. This is wholeness unfolding. Imagination and creativity also reveal that knowledge is not fixed. They create entirely new modalities of knowing. Before there was language, there was only silence. Imagination gave birth to words. Creativity turned them into communication. And with that, human awareness expanded. Before there was science, there was only observation. Imagination pictured hidden forces. Creativity tested them, and knowledge grew. Each step in human evolution is the story of imagination and creativity revealing new ways of knowing. This same process is alive in you now. Each time you imagine a new possibility, you are expanding the boundaries of your awareness. Each time you act creatively, you are embodying a new way of knowing. Together, they do not only change your life, they change the very structure of your consciousness. You begin to see yourself not as fixed, but as fluid, not as small, but as vast. And this expansion has no end. Consciousness is infinite, and imagination and creativity are its endless expressions. No matter how much you create, more visions will arise. No matter how far you expand, new horizons will appear. This is the beauty of being alive. You are not meant to be finished, you are meant to unfold, to discover, to grow, to feel this directly. Pause now. Close your eyes, breathe, and notice the awareness that is always here. Into this awareness, let a simple image arise. It could be a color, a sound, a landscape. Watch how easily it comes. Now, give it form. Speak it in words. Picture yourself stepping into it. Imagine acting on it. This is imagination and creativity working together, expanding your awareness, giving you a new way of knowing yourself. Over time, as you practice this, you begin to live differently. You stop seeing life as a fixed story and start seeing it as an unfolding creation. You stop identifying with old patterns and start recognizing your freedom to imagine and create new ones. You stop chasing wholeness outside and start uncovering it within. This is the gift of imagination and creativity. They are not distractions. They are the path, the very way consciousness remembers its own infinite nature. So, the next time you doubt yourself, the next time you feel stuck, remember this. Imagination is waiting to show you another possibility. Creativity is waiting to bring it alive. Together, they are always here, always ready, always moving you toward greater freedom, greater wholeness, greater truth. To truly experience the power of imagination and creativity, you must bring them into practice. It is not enough to speak about them or to think about them. They must be lived, felt, embodied. Meditation is one of the simplest and most direct ways to do this. In meditation, you rest in the field of awareness, you observe the flow of thoughts, images, and feelings, and you begin to see their source. From this source, imagination rises effortlessly, and creativity flows naturally. Sit comfortably now, and close your eyes if you wish. Feel your body resting, feel the breath moving in and out. Notice the simple fact that you are aware. Behind every thought, behind every sensation, there's this awareness. Silent, spacious, unbroken. This is pure consciousness, the ground of your being. Into this space, thoughts appear and dissolve. Images rise and fade. Feelings come and go. Watch closely, and you will see that they all arise from the same invisible source. This source is the creative dimension of consciousness. It is here that imagination begins. Without effort, without control, an image can form in your mind. Perhaps it is a color, perhaps it is a landscape, perhaps it is something symbolic, something meaningful. Notice how naturally it appears, as if consciousness is painting on the canvas of itself. This is imagination alive in you, subtle, quiet, powerful. Now, let creativity join. Take the image and give it life. If you see a landscape, imagine yourself walking into it, feeling its air, hearing its sounds. If you see a color, imagine it filling your body, bringing calm, bringing energy, bringing balance. If you see a symbol, imagine expressing it in words, in movement, in action. This is creativity, the act of turning vision into lived experience. In this way, meditation is not about emptying the mind. It is about recognizing the mind as a creative space. It is about seeing how awareness itself is always unfolding, always expressing, always expanding. You do not need to force imagination, you only need to open to it. You do not need to force creativity, you only need to let it flow. When you practice this, even for a few minutes, you begin to feel the quiet joy of consciousness discovering itself. And this practice does not end when you open your eyes. The images and feelings you discover in meditation can guide your daily life. If you imagine peace, let creativity help you act in peaceful ways. If you imagine healing, let creativity move you toward choices that support health. If you imagine love, let creativity guide your words and your actions. In this way, meditation becomes not just a practice of stillness, but a practice of transformation. Each time you sit, you are reminded that you are not bound by old stories. You are not trapped in repetition. You are not fixed in one identity. You are awareness itself, capable of endless imagination, capable of endless creativity. This recognition is liberation. It frees you not by changing the outer world, but by revealing the inner truth that you are already whole, already free. Do not worry if the images are small or if the actions feel ordinary. The power of imagination and creativity is not measured by size. A simple color that calms your mind, a small act of kindness that shifts your heart, a gentle breath that changes your body. Each of these is profound. Each is consciousness moving, expanding, transforming. Each is a step into wholeness. And over time, these small steps gather. They become new habits, new ways of being. They reshape your relationships, your work, your life. They open doors you once thought closed. They reveal strengths you once thought lost. They remind you again and again that you are not limited to the past. You are always unfolding into the future. So let meditation be your laboratory. Let it be the place where imagination is free to rise, where creativity is free to act, where consciousness is free to discover itself. The more you practice, the more you realize that life itself is a meditation, that every moment is an opportunity to imagine and create, to expand and unfold. In this recognition, you stop searching for wholeness outside. You stop chasing freedom in circumstances. You stop believing that fulfillment will arrive someday. You see that it is here now, in the very act of being aware, imagining, creating. You realize that the missing piece was never outside. It was always inside, waiting quietly, waiting patiently, waiting for you to notice. So each day, give yourself a few moments. Sit, breathe, notice. Let imagination show you a picture, however small. Let creativity bring it alive, however simple. And as you do, you will feel the pulse of wholeness, the freedom of awareness, the joy of consciousness unfolding. Every meditation is an invitation to discover something new. Yet what you truly discover is what has always been here. Imagination and creativity are not foreign powers. They are the natural breath of consciousness. Always rising, always falling, always ready to guide you home. When you give them space, when you allow them to move without resistance, you begin to see how close wholeness has always been. Close your eyes now if you wish and take a gentle breath. Feel the stillness of this moment. Awareness is here, open and quiet. From this openness, let a simple image arise. Do not force it, let it appear on its own. It may be a color, soft and glowing. It may be a shape, forming gently. It may be a landscape, alive with beauty. Notice how effortlessly it comes. This is imagination, consciousness creating from within itself. Now let creativity join. If you see a color, imagine it filling your body, moving through every cell, bringing balance and calm. If you see a landscape, imagine walking into it, feeling its air on your skin, hearing its sounds, sensing its peace. If you see a symbol, imagine living it, expressing it, allowing it to shape your words and your actions. This is creativity, turning the unseen into the seen, turning vision into life. Stay with this for a few breaths. Notice how it feels. Notice the sense of freedom, of openness, of connection. This is not escape. This is not fantasy. This is consciousness revealing itself, reminding you that you are more than thoughts, more than emotions, more than stories. You are awareness itself, endlessly imaginative, endlessly creative, endlessly free. When you practice like this, even for a few minutes, you carry something back into your daily life. You carry the memory of wholeness, the taste of freedom, the sense of possibility. Suddenly, the world feels different. Challenges feel lighter, relationships feel softer, choices feel wider. You begin to live not from fear, but from vision, not from habit, but from creativity, not from lack, but from wholeness. And this shift is not only for you. When you live from imagination and creativity, others feel it. They sense your openness, your compassion, your freedom. They are reminded of their own. Your practice becomes a gift, a ripple of awareness moving through the world. This is how culture evolves, how communities heal, how humanity awakens. One person at a time, one vision at a time, one act at a time. Imagination and creativity also protect you from the illusion of finality. Life often tells you that things are fixed, that stories cannot change, that you are bound to repeat the past. But imagination shows you that New possibilities always exist. Creativity shows you that you can always act differently. Together, they reveal that nothing is final, that transformation is always possible, that freedom is always near. This is why they are so subtle and yet so powerful. They are the hidden engines of self-realization. Without them, consciousness would remain silent, undifferentiated, unseen. With them, consciousness blossoms, discovers, expands. It becomes the world, it becomes your life, it becomes every moment you live. And yet, they require no effort. You do not have to create them, you only have to allow them. Like breathing, they happen naturally. Imagination rises like a picture on water. Creativity flows like a river into action. Your task is simply to notice, to welcome, to trust. When you do, life becomes lighter, freer, more alive. So remember this as you go forward. Every image that arises in you, every vision that whispers is an opening. Every creative act, every new choice is a step through that opening. Together, they guide you back to the wholeness you have always been. They remind you that fulfillment is not something you achieve. It is something you uncover. It is here, now, in the very fact of being aware. Let this truth sink in. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are awareness itself. Alive with imagination, alive with creativity, alive with freedom. You do not need to chase wholeness. You only need to remember it. You do not need to wait for freedom. You only need to live it. And with every breath, every vision, every act, you are already doing so. If this meditation has reminded you of the quiet wholeness already living inside you, carry that truth with you into your day. Remember that imagination is always ready to open new doors, and creativity is always ready to help you step through them. You are not limited by the past. You are not trapped by old patterns. You are awareness itself, free to envision, free to create, free to live fully. As you move forward, begin to notice the subtle gifts that rise from within. Notice the gentle images that appear in your mind, the quiet visions that whisper of healing, of freedom, of love. And when they come, let them guide you. Let creativity bring them into action. Speak the kind word. Take the deeper breath. Choose the compassionate response. In these small steps, you discover the freedom and the wholeness that were always waiting. If this meditation has touched your heart, if it has opened even a small space of peace inside you, I invite you to continue this journey. There are many more guided meditations, many more explorations of imagination, creativity, and consciousness waiting here for you. By subscribing to this channel, by sharing this meditation with someone who may need it, by leaving your reflections in the comments, you help this community grow and you help this awareness ripple outward into the world. Together, we can create a space where imagination is trusted,